This Day in Sports History. This episode is brought to you by the Sterling Soap Company. Sterling Soap is 100% natural and with a variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, cologne, and many more personal care products in a large variety of scents, you're sure to find something that's perfect for you or that special someone in your life. Check them out at sterlingsoap.com. And welcome back to This Day in Sports History, a member of the Sports History Network, where you can find more podcasts, more info, and we also have a giveaway going on as Darren Hayes, a member of the Sports History Network family, as the host of Pigskin Dispatch, just released a new book. It's called Marooned: The Rise, the Fall, and the Redemption of the NFL's Pottsville Maroons, and it details the controversy around the team in the 1925 NFL season. You can enter for your chance to win an autographed copy of the book. Just go to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. And a quick note before I start today, apologies for the voice. You go to a baseball game once in, the last 5 years, you yell at the umpire just once for a span of 10 seconds, and then you just lose your voice. So apologies, but we'll get through it, and then my voice will hopefully get better in the coming days. Anyway, it's May 24th, and on this day in 1981, it was a wild day at the Indianapolis 500, taking 3.5 hours to race it and 5 months to determine who actually won it. The 1981 Indy 500 race may be the most memorable one for several reasons. Weather was an annoyance throughout the month, causing pole qualifying to take 3 days. Rain also kept cars off the track on several practice days, and once the race did get underway, it was marred by a couple of terrifying incidents, one on the track, the other in the pits. On lap 58, while race leader Tom Sneva stalled his car in the pits, Rick Mears' crew had a far more dangerous situation unfolding in their pit box.
We got a fire there. You can't see it, but it's an alcohol fire. Look at people fleeing in every direction. It's Rick Mears trying to get out of his car. He just came into the pits. This could be very bad. You can't see it, but it's there. See him waving his hand. There's Mears. He's got the flameproof driving suit on. There's a mechanic who's really on fire.
Rick Mears isn't fire himself. He's not fire. He's probably
They're still not getting that man.
The mechanic's still on fire. You cannot see the flame. It's an alcohol fire.
Look at those tanks right there contain fuel, too. This is a very dangerous situation. They seem to be getting it under control.
So, yeah, it's strange to watch the video replay of that because there is no visible flame or smoke. But methanol burns at a lower temperature than gasoline, and it produces less heat. So while it could have been much, much worse, even tragic, nobody was seriously injured because of it. Okay, then just a few laps later, the flying Hawaiian Danny Ungaius came into the pits. He stalled his car. In his attempt to make up precious time on the track a few laps later, he attempted to pass a slower car late in turn 3, and he got himself into trouble.
Oh my God, a terrible crash. I think it's Danny Ungaius. I think it's Ungaius, Jackie.
And the driver's in the car, Jim. He's still in the car. I can see he's sitting upright. In fact, his
he's not moving.
Feet are outside the car. The car is on fire. Luckily, the flame, I think, is going back the way. The car is terribly damaged, Jim. The emergency crews, as ever, on top of the car very quickly.
Ungaius was transported to a local hospital in critical condition and survived the accident, but missed the remainder of the kart season, rehabbing his injuries. Then, on lap 149, the controversy that would cloud the result of this race for 5 months occurred. Race leader Mario Andretti and second-place driver Bobby Unser pitted. Upon exit, Unser got out ahead of Andretti, accelerated, and then passed cars in turns 1 and 2 that were lined up behind the pace car instead of blending into the pack like the rules apparently said he should have done.
Bobby out again, and Bobby going out he passed a car. What's he doing? Look at that, he's passed about half a dozen cars.
Oh, James, that's
under the yellow, you can't do that.
That is a no-no. He has accelerated probably in the haste of leaving the pit lane. He's certainly overtaken these other cars. I'm not sure why he did that. I know that you're certainly not supposed to do it. The regulations say that under yellow flag conditions, you must not pass any other cars, and that certainly has been
Okay, so the race commentary you just listened to is also controversial. ABC broadcast the race in 1981 on tape delay, beginning at 9 p.m. that night. Now, the race start and the end were recorded live while it happened, but the middle of the race commentary was done after the race and completed in post-production. It's so crazy to think about that now, but Jim McKay's and Jackie Stewart's reactions sounded like they were reacting in the moment that actually happened, when in reality, it was done with full knowledge of what was happening behind the scenes and many hours later. ABC and both McKay and Stewart were roundly criticized. It's also crazy that nobody noticed what Unser did while he did it. The live radio broadcast missed it. Track officials missed it, with one official admitting that he was in the bathroom during the caution. Andretti radioed his team complaining about Unser's illegal move, and at that point, they raised the issue with track officials. For the final 48 laps, Unser undoubtedly had the dominant car on the racetrack and took the checkered flag with ease. But there was a protest filed by the Andretti team concerning the passing of cars under yellow. So while Unser enjoyed victory lane, race officials began looking into the incident. The next morning, when race results were officially posted, Unser had been penalized one position for illegally passing cars under yellow, and Andretti was declared the winner. But hang on a second. That is not the end of it, not even close. Unser team owner Roger Penske then filed a protest of his own. The litigation of the case began in June, and it's not like it's happened every day for 5 months, but it started in June, they reconvened in July, and it was not until October 8th that a 3-member USAC panel, with USAC being the governing body of the Indy 500 at the time, ruled 2-1 in favor of reinstating Unser as the official winner of the 1981 Indianapolis 500. The race came to be known as the Great Dispute, and even though Unser eventually came out on top, it in essence ended his racing career. The fines, the lawyer fees, lost sponsorship deals, and the length of time it took left him disenchanted and left him in a bit of a financial ruin. So he was pretty much done with racing. He sat out the 82 season, and then he retired from racing in 1983. Moving ahead to 1987 and what happened on this day in the Indianapolis 500, it was Bobby's brother Al Unser Sr. winning the race in a car that he wasn't even supposed to be driving. The 47-year-old Unser was a replacement driver for Roger Penske's team after Danny Ungaius was injured and suffered a concussion during practice for the 87 race. Unser Sr. started on the 7th row of the grid, but the 3-time Indy 500 winner moved up in the pack and was sitting comfortably in third with 20 laps to go. On lap 180, race leader Mario Andretti blew an engine, and then after the man who took over the lead, Roberto Guerrero, stalled his engine on a pit stop, costing him a minute of valuable time, the older Unser was out front, and he cruised to the win with a 5-second margin of victory over Guerrero. Unser's 25-year-old son, Al Jr., finished fourth. For Sr., it was his 4th Indy win, tying him for the most with 3 other drivers, and at 47 years, 360 days, he became and still remains the oldest driver to ever win the Indianapolis 500. And then in 1992, it was little Al's turn. So many things happened in this race, and there were possibilities for storylines all around it. The weather was cold, preventing the tires from heating up properly, leading to race cars sliding everywhere on the pace laps. Pole sitter Roberto Guerrero was trying to warm his tires on the pace lap when he slid off the racetrack and crashed his car. Previous 500 winners Mario Andretti, Rick Mears, Emerson Fittipaldi, Ari Luyendyk, and Tom Sneva all wrecked throughout the course of the race. The first father-son combo to win at the Brickyard was another storyline, but it looked like that distinction would belong to the Andretti family for the longest time. Michael Andretti had the best race car on the day, but as we've learned recently, that does not always equate to a win. Andretti had a 25-second lead at one point in the race, but a seemingly continuous stream of caution flags brought him back to the field. On lap 188, he lost oil pressure, and he was done for the day. And that set up an 11-lap sprint to the finish between Little Al and Scott Goodyear. So now we've got Unser Jr. trying to make that father-son legacy a reality, and Goodyear chasing the distinction of starting last and finishing first. On the final lap, this is how it sounded with Paul Page making the call.
They make the turn for home now. On the main stretch, Scott Goodyear closes in. He looks for a place to come by. Scott Goodyear tries it, but no.
I believe that's the closest finish in Indy history. Closer than the race 10 years ago when Gordon Johncock beat Rick Mears.
After 500 miles of racing, the race was decided by 72 inches, and it is still the closest 1-2 finish in Indy 500 history. On this day in 1935, it was the first night game in Major League Baseball history. Cincinnati's general manager Larry McPhail saw promise where others saw hassle, a way to expand the day when others were happy the way it was. A new opportunity to open the door for baseball fans to come to a game on their time. Stadium lights and night games existed prior to 1935, but only in a few places in the minor leagues. McPhail had seen the success those clubs had by adding illumination at ballparks to play night games. And also, I've talked before about how the workforce was changing and things were becoming more 9 to 5-ish. And so more people working during the days meant less people coming to the ballparks for day games. So in December 1934, McPhail petitioned the league at the winter meetings and was given permission to add lights to Crosley Field. But it's not a simple process. You can't just stick some poles in the ground and mount some lights on top. And especially since this hadn't been done much yet and a whole lot of eyes would be watching to see if it worked, it needed to be done right. So the Reds organization asked General Electric and Cincinnati Gas and Electric to work on it. Now there's some math and science that goes into the process. It required a mix of watts, lumens, and positioning to get it right. The field has to be well lit with no shadows. The players have to be able to see the ball and not be temporarily blinded by the light. Fans and broadcasters need to be able to see the action. In the end, 632 lights were mounted on poles around the field, and at 8:30 that night, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, sitting in the White House 500 miles away, sent an electric pulse down a copper wire to Cincinnati's Crosley Field. With McPhail standing by and seeing the signal come in, the switch was flipped to turn on the lights around the ballpark. The 20,422 fans in attendance were in awe at the new technology. Their new world, really. Night baseball had arrived. Now, the game is mostly a footnote. The Reds won 2-1. Players from both teams gave the thumbs up that they had no trouble picking up the ball off the bat or being thrown to them, and the experiment worked. Change didn't happen overnight, though. It would be another 3 years for the next park to add lights. That was Brooklyn's Ebbets Field. But by 1948, every baseball park, except one, would have lights. The Chicago Cubs were the lone holdout until 1988. And on this day in 2004, Maurice Clarett lost his legal battle with the NFL. 2 years prior, Clarett was riding a wave of celebrity. In 2002, as a freshman at Ohio State, he rolled up 1,300 all-purpose yards, scored 18 touchdowns, and scored the winning touchdown for the Buckeyes in the national championship game against Miami. But after the season, controversy swirled about conflicts with coaches, athletic administration, and whether he was actually going to class. He was dismissed from the team in September of 2003, having played only one season of college football. He sued the NFL, challenging the rule that prohibited a player from entering the draft or playing in the league if they were less than 3 years removed from high school. He initially won in court, but that decision was reversed on appeal on this day. Clarett had to wait another year before he would be eligible for the draft. In the 2005 draft, he was taken with the last pick of the third round by the Denver Broncos. He ended up signing a 4-year deal with some guaranteed money, but an unimpressive training camp subsequently led to him being released before the season even started. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. Ben Franklin created a lot of things during his life. Well, one early creation was a fictitious Dear Abby-like person. As a 16-year-old, Franklin began writing essays printed in his brother's paper from the perspective of an old widow woman. The character of Silence Dogood wrote articles about religion, fashion, women's rights, marriage, among others. The Dogood column became so popular that several interested bachelors actually wrote proposing marriage. Eventually, Franklin fessed up to his brother, who was unaware of his ghostwriting. His brother was not happy about his younger brother's subterfuge, and the column was ended. On the bright side, Ben moved to Philadelphia soon after to get away from his older brother. Thanks for listening to today's episode of This Day in Sports History. Come back tomorrow. I'll have another one, and hopefully I'll sound better. But let that be a warning to you. Just take it easy on the umpires and the refs. Your voice will appreciate it. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.